after doing that for 25 years, I decided that I was done with it, and I started doing some consulting at that time with REO, so the property, a lot of the banks were taking on a lot of property. So that's how I ended up getting involved with real estate and realized that I always wanted to do it. You know, I bought my very first investment property that I bought was when I was 21 years old. I bought four four duplex, four townhomes in Rialto.
Yeah.
So the way out there. Yeah, it's just one of those things. It was a bank that had it was an ad in the newspaper. I walked into the bank and they helped me fix it. They subsidized it for Section 8, and I just got it with my pride.
Oh, wow.
And it was so like a $600 cost of cash flow.
What year was that?
That was 1990.
Austin business decision.
I bet you they're worth like 10 times now.
They are. Well, no, they don't exist anymore. That lasted for a few years, and then the city decided to build a park
Oh my
in that
God.
area. So they ended
Was
up
it
buying me out.
Was it something domain? What do you call that when the government takes over? The city?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah, the city is the one, the
Okay,
city,
city.
yeah. They have the right, so they just, they pay well for it, so. And so since then, I was always itching to to change careers,
Yeah.
but once you get to a certain level and you're making a certain amount of money, it's very hard to go to just commission.
What were you doing in the banking industry?
I started while I was in high school back in '86.
I love your style.
Right.
I said, I love your style, because you were so young, but you were motivated. No one thinks of this when they're a kid.
Well, I have worked since I can remember. I think I had my actual job when I was 14 years old. And when I was in high school, I tried different things. I even took an auto mechanic class because my dad used to buy cars at auctions and he would fix them and sell them. So I figured, dad does that. Then I realized, I don't like getting my nails dirty. I quit that. And then I took a banking class on Saturdays. I did really well, and back in the day, Secure Pacific was doing community involvement, and they recommended me for a job. So back in '86, during '86, on the 11th grade, second semester, I started going part-time to school and working part-time as a teller.
Nice.
When I think minimum wage there was $3.75, I was making $10.25 an hour. So I did. And that's how I got into banking. But my last 5 years in banking was with Malaga Bank, this bank right here. I was one of 4 executives for them. And I left my career making $240,000 a year and to go 100% commission.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I mean, I'm sure it's paid off well, right?
Well, you never look back. Yeah. To make $200,000 in business is not that difficult. It's not.
Right.
So it's I wanted more, and sometimes you have to go a little back and regroup,
Yeah.
and then don't look back. That's the important part. Okay, so let's review a little bit. What are some of the things that you guys have found in this program that are going to make a difference in your business? What have you learned? So now.
I can speak a little bit. I've learned that command works very well. So if you do have leads and contacts that you're communicating with, it's best to send out anniversary cards to keep in touch, birthday cards, Also time blocking to make calls.
Okay.
Find time to make calls to, connect with leads. I was told to post every day something regarding real estate on social media. Ignite definitely helps, you know. I'm still learning Command, but there's a lot of opportunity in Command that has benefit to help with the business as well.
Absolutely. What else? What have you learned in the last couple of trainings?
I just attended the one yesterday, being a buyer, I mean, it was very informative, and I think the biggest takeaway, and I think you can apply it to any aspect here, is you just have to learn to listen to your client, customer, and just don't talk yourself out of, because then you just tend to talk more than you need to, and sometimes you just talk yourself out of a sale or a deal, but I think that was my biggest takeaway, is you listen to what they actually need, and they will tell you, they will actually close it for you, you just have to.
If I could get $1 for every time I see or I hear agents, they already got the appointment and they keep talking. To me, I mean, just wrap it up, right? Sometimes when we talk too much, it's exactly true. After people had agreed to do business with us, in us wanting to talk more, we can say something that might not be to their liking. We might say something that they might not agree with. Then we might say something that might be wrong. We might say something that can actually hurt that relationship, you can hurt that piece of business. So wrap it up. Wrap it up. Be in a relationship, but don't talk yourself out of the deal that you said. And database. CRM, CRM is the customer management system. It's really a relationship system. It's really important because there's a lot of automation. Okay? And we have to stay in contact with people that we have. The people that we know are the easiest to convert. The people that already know us and trust us are the easiest to convert. So smart plans. Those are the ones that automatically send, the bi-weekly or monthly activity reports. Right? You can actually set up on a quarterly call, so it reminds you to call them every quarter. The EDD2, which is the weekly program that they match 2 letters to call each week for 36 weeks. All those things, and there's so many tools. So the problem that we have, you'll feel it. I came with a phone book of about 6,000 people in my phone, for all the contacts, all the people that I knew in the community. Member of like 4 different chambers of commerce, on the board of like 6 nonprofits, and I had contacts everywhere. Okay. And coming from a position, a good job and everything, of course, ego gets in the way, and I think I'm gonna reinvent this. Right? When this business is about listening, pay attention to somebody that's being successful at it. They're not comfortable with it. They're doing the basics. And the basics in the business is, what's the basic? What's the most important thing to do in this business? Not the headshot. Not the Facebook page, how it looks. There's one activity to do in this business. It's one. Lead generation. Right? Basic. Your only job when you get started is lead generator. And then there's a second job. And that is lead generator. And the third one is lead generator. freaking lead generation. Because that's the only job, that's one responsibility you have. Right? So, and it's good, be organized with the database, because let me tell you, trying to organize 6,000 people at one time is a nightmare. But when you're getting started and you only have maybe 100 contacts, please follow what Keller Williams teaches us about, because it's a whole class. But how to organize your contacts and how to put them in priority order. You know, the A plus, the A, B's, and C's, all that, put it, execute it. Because it's what's going to give you or put you in production the fastest. Because people that don't know you, why would they want to do business with you? Right? They don't know you, they don't trust you. So find the people in your database that actually like you. Because the only reason why people don't do business with you is because they like you and they trust you. That's it. That's your goal. When you lead generating, you want them to like you and trust you. And that is one thing that I preach all the time. Okay? Because in an open house, people get there and they don't like you, or they feel like, who are you? They're not gonna give. If they give you the information, I can guarantee you the wrong number, wrong email. How do you get the right information? Well, you just show up for them and you make them feel like they're like the most important person. They're just being in their open house. And that's how you win. And that's how you win buyers, that's how you win sellers, that's how everything works. Okay? So this is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to show you some actual samples of transactions that I actually have active. It has to do with working with sellers. Working with sellers is a way to scale a business. It's a way to grow your business fast. Why? Because let me tell you, when you're working with buyers, and it happens to me, at times I've been working with 4 or 5 buyers. Especially in this market right now, someone's driving around, showing some of the different properties, and 5 buyers are scared. But you can have 5 listings and still be like, I'm at lunch. Because somebody else is going to sell their right? So listing is the best way to do this business. But you know, buyers are good too. This year has been mostly listing, but I have had 2 buyers that are really nice. Last month I closed a 2.2 buyer, and yesterday I closed a 1.8 buyer. That's $4 million. You know how much that is in commission? It's $100,000. 2 clients. So buyers are good, but also, you know, the listing actually gives you a little more freedom, and that's the key here. So we're going to go through getting the appointment, the pre-listing packet. I don't know if some of this stuff you've never heard of before. So we go to the pre-listing, but the listing, going through the actual listing appointment, getting the listing agreement signed, and we're going to go through some ahas and see what if you guys actually learned something today. Okay, not sure why this has that green square. Yeah. So through your career at Keller Williams, you're always gonna hear this, the 3 L's. Listings, leverage, leads. Do you guys know what sources of leads we have? What's the source of a lead? Or ways to get leads?
Policy, realtor,
Okay, what else?
trying to know,
Mm-hmm.
similar like any of the expired stuff, they can find, or for sale by order.
Okay. So those are very expensive ways of getting leads. What are other ways of getting leads?
Meeting people.
Yeah.
Lead generation,
In general.
communicating, your contacts.
Mm-hmm. You go to the market, you're in line, let me tell you something, you better be at your best, and you better be talking to the person in front of you, and hopefully there's a line, right? You know how we complain when there's lines? When you're a realtor, you should be happy. Look, you have somebody to talk to in the front, you have somebody to talk to in the back. And I hope that you're at your best. You're
That's true.
at your best to be able to talk to them, hey, you know, just a simple introduction to say hi.
Yeah.
And, you know, oh, do you live in a neighborhood, or whatever your style is, I mean, you can't copy me. It's who makes you, or what makes you authentic. Because if you're authentic and you're real. Look, if you smile at someone in line, you think you're gonna frown at you? Huh? They're gonna smile back. That's what you just did. You just open communication. You know, oh, I'm very excited about what real estate. Have you heard what real estate is doing all this? Let them talk. By the way, here's my business card. I live in the neighborhood too. That's a possibility. And when you don't look out, turn to the one around you. Huh? The cashier, I mean, the dry cleaners, okay? You're already giving them business. So lead generation, and those are cheap leads.
Yeah.
Right? Open houses by far is my favorite. Because you don't have to ask people, are you thinking of buying and selling? No, they're coming to the open house, why? Because they're thinking of buying and selling. They already told you, right? So those would be the easiest. So this, if you put this right here in itself is a business. You take leads. Hopefully, the majority of your business is listings, because I told you, managing 5 buyers is very difficult. Managing 5 listings, not that difficult. The paperwork is less, because everything has to be done by the buyer's agent, right? The majority. The listing has it in the front with the disclosures and what have you. But the buyers is the one that actually does a lot of inspections, the running around, the appraisal, the this and that. And you just, well, I have the transaction coordinator just to see the paperwork. And it makes it a lot easier. What's leverage? Jim?
The leverage is, well,
I just gave you a leverage, right? The last thing I said was leverage. My TC. Leverage is when I use the effort of other people to accomplish my goal. So I use a transaction coordinator that handles my paperwork. Why? Since my very first transaction, and I hate to admit this, and probably I hope Simon is not listening, but you know, I was selling real estate for 3 years. I didn't know the paperwork. Because what I did was sales.
Yeah.
What I did was get the contract signed. What I did was get the plan, and I had somebody.
Do the experts do it, the experts do it well.
So I mean, you don't have to, you know, it doesn't take having to do all the work. It's just a matter of what you're good at, and that's what you focus on. So leverage is building a team. Leverage is having other people that go and do real estate, and you get part of it. Leverage. Okay.
I totally agree. And I've always had a transaction coordinator. The bad part of a transaction coordinator, they do all the work for you. And if you don't get thoroughly involved knowing what they're doing, then you lose it.
You have to inspect what you expect, okay? That, by the way, using a transaction coordinator does not keep you from the liability nor responsibility of doing real estate. But this is the beauty of listings. Remember we're just talking about? The moment you the moment you take a listing, you have your sign out there. All the neighbors can see it. The moment you put a listing, you put it on Facebook. People can call you now. You don't have to call them. You put it here. The property is available. Call me. You have more control of your time. you can actually do more volume. So with listings, buyers come. Right? They see your sign or your ad and they're going by, guess what they're gonna do? Well, now they're gonna write it, right? And they're gonna call you. You do an open house when you're listing, buyers come. So you don't even have to market to buyers anymore. You automatically get them with the listings, and that's why it's so precious. Okay? So this is the cycle of a transaction, of a listing. So real quick, what have we learned in reference to the why both work with sellers?
Stay quiet, I'm sorry.
What have we learned?
What did you say?
That what have we learned in reference to all the benefit of working with sellers? We're getting listings.
Oh, you said the opportunity for others to just call you. And you don't do as much work to generate, but still people can see that you have a listing out.
Okay.
And they can call you to possibly buy or sell themselves.
So you have control of your time, you have, you have practically a better life, because you don't have to be driving people around all the time with.
With the listing, it definitely,
By the way, I know buyers, but
yes,
listings are just easier.
buyers just change their minds.
So this is what the, what sellers want from you as a listing agent. Okay, have you done any transactions with this UV license?
Just, no,
No, okay. So, anyway, their expectations. How, and that's why in the beginning it's easier to get a buyer than to get a listing. Because they're looking for more experience. That doesn't mean, okay, that doesn't mean that your first transaction cannot be a listing. Mine was. There was a referral from a friend of mine from the chamber. A week after I got my license. And it was a short sale. There was nothing short about it. It was a long sale. But I ended up getting the listing and I ended up getting the buyer for it. So it took a while, but 6 months later I was getting paid. So that's, that was kind of nice. So, we become a consultant. They expect us to tell them how they're gonna show their home the best way. I mean, I'm a little bit of a neat freak, so I'm very good with detail and I'm very good with telling them what to do. And sometimes we don't even stage, we just use their own furniture. I just said, you have to get rid of that, you have to get rid of that, you have to put that away. Boom. And then the house looks pretty nice. So that's the kind of stuff that the listing agent does. This is the other part. When you're talking to a seller, you're not going to be telling them, well, I think I can sell it for around 700. But if it doesn't sell for that, I'll for a little less. But there's a lot of buyers right now. Does that sound confident to you? Right, you'd be like, oh, no. You have to know and deliver that to the seller with the most confident. I know I can sell this house. And if you follow my marketing plan, I know I can get you more than you expect. And this is how you do it. This right here, it's a listing agreement. There's no actual listing agreement. So, but as you can see, this listing, how much does it say there? Oh,
I never my glasses on.
so I took this listing for $1,050,000. Okay. I told my client, I said, I think you can drive the stake to $1 million, to 1.1. Because, but you take it to 1,050,000. I said, how are you gonna do that? Oh, that's because you're gonna let me lease the property. They leased the property at 998. To the what? Oh, this is what I do all the time, yeah, I do really well at it. We are in escrow. I give the numbers what one looks like. I'm in escrow in the property right now at 1,106,000. Guess how much that first one? $1,050,000. I had the price right on. Guess what the buyer's doing right now? Because you couldn't get it through me. They're paying 56,000 over appraised value. They're giving her 2 months of free rent. No repairs, no termite. Without that, she got over 1.12. Because their new mortgage payment is like $6,800. Now, do you think this contract gives me confidence for the next one? This was the previous one did for this one, the same. Right? So, in that time, it's a beautiful home. This is what I did for her. Okay. And there's the listing, like I tell you, this is the form. So, confidence, and that's why sometimes now, like when you're working with mentors and all that, it's really important because when you go into your first one, you start going like this, and it's scary. You want to slowly, but that is possible, and it is happening all the time now. So confidence, how you deliver, and by the way, this goes with the buyer and the seller. Oh no, if you come into a buyer and say, well, it's very difficult to find a home right now, because everybody's not beating everybody, and that's not the conversation you have. You can have a realistic conversation by saying, what? Good thing you're working with the best. Because I know how to talk to the other agents, I know how to get your offer accepted in there. Okay, it's competitive, but I'm just letting you know that because I want you to be prepared. We're going in and we're gonna win some properties. Very different. Okay, I'm telling them the same thing. But they need to be prepared. Because if you don't prepare your buyers for that, forget it. The first thing they're gonna ask you is, can we get it for less than they're putting it on the market for? Because they're always buying, they're always looking to get a deal, right? They need to know before they go see the first property that that's not what's happening in the market. And you need to tell them that properly. So this is what you need to keep in mind when you're getting appointments. And like I told you before, your number one job and your number two job and your number three job is lead generation. And if you're doing lead generation, naturally what comes next? The appointment. Right? Without appointments, you don't have a client. So your goal when you lead generating and your goal on your weekly basis, lead generation should be get 2 appointments a week. Minimum. That sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But imagine what would that do to your business. If you got 2 appointments a week, that's a lot of appointments. A year, which if you close half of those, you have 52, right? Because if you have 52 weeks, you do 2 and 4, so you have 52. Okay. So closing the appointment. Sometimes we have to be careful that when people ask us questions, because sometimes our friends, sometimes our mentors, or sometimes another agent tells us, make sure you practice all the objections, but you're gonna have, and you still have to practice it. But we need to be careful that at times, a seller can seem to be asking a question. Like the scary one, when they say, are you sure you can do it for less than 5%? Everybody figures out. What do you say?
You get what you pay for.
Okay.
character, but then that's the service you get.
Okay, what else? So, they're asking you to discount it. They're asking you if you can do it. If you look at it that way, you just say,
You can try. You say you can see what you can do.
okay, and what are you gonna do after?
I guess. Look into it and see if you can make it happen. If not, you let them know.
Okay, so the answer to the question, can you do it for less than 5% is, I cannot. But I am the person that's gonna get you the most for the property. And time after time, my record shows that I actually get people even more than the appraisal value of their property. Why? Because what I just showed you in that transaction, I do it over and over again. Constantly. So, but that is how you need to work it out and start. That's the reputation, that's the portfolio you need to build for you. Let me tell you, the confidence, I mean, when you do it all the time, when you say it, it's so real, and they know it, I mean, they see it, they know I can. Not that I get every single one. But the chances of getting more goes up really fast. So that's the key. So just remember that not everything is an objection. Because we think in our mind, we're like, oh my God, they want a discount. This is the one that I do not want to hear. And it shouldn't be that way. Okay. On the transaction that I closed yesterday, for 1.8, I made them as a seller. I'm doing a 1031 exchange because they're selling a property in Garina. So I have that handyman taken care of right now, they're ready. But they found the property they wanted to buy first, right? So, when I met with him, he goes, bro, how much are you gonna charge me? What do you say? How much is, practically what he asked me is how much is your commission? What percentage are you gonna charge me? How much are you gonna charge me to do this?
Commission, 6%.
Okay. How do you answer that in a way that is confident? How do you answer that in a way that you don't leave room for negotiation?
Really ensure them that they're gonna get above value.
Okay.
You answer it, and then you tell them that you're gonna get them the best for their property, like you said. Let them know that you're the best person for the job.
Okay. Well, this was a referral. My handyman referred it.
Wow.
So I told him, I said, look, I normally charge 6%, but because Louis referred you, I'm only charging you 5%. And the reason why is because I want it to be my client for life. He goes, like, all right, great. He goes, you know, we're buying, I didn't know this was a 1031 exchange at that point. I didn't know that they were gonna buy another property. He goes, that is great because we are buying another property with the money. And I want us to help us with it.
So I have a question on that. So I have a similar situation. A friend of mine is selling his rental. And his tenants didn't pay him rent for almost a year and a half. So it was hard for him to evict those. So his previous realtor that actually helped him purchase that property, helped him get the people evicted. I've been talking to him for a couple of months now, and I told him I'm licensed, I told him I can help him out, also already like done the consequence and stuff. But he's like, that other guy helped kick those tenants out for free, he didn't charge us, so I think he's expecting to get this listing. They wanna do the same thing, use the money to buy the next one. So I'm trying to position myself and basically say, I wanna work with you more longer term, not just for this one or two transactions, so. That's my current challenge is.
I know how you don't,
I've known him for like, 8, 9 years.
how good a friends are you?
We're good friends, yeah.
Okay. How long has he done his work?
So I guess since he bought the house in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But that realtor is, I think, related with his, that's more his father is connected with him. That's what they're trying to.
well, don't go for the whole pie. Just ask him, say, look, why don't you give me the opportunity to show you, and let me work with the realtor. Let's go list it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was telling you too, that even I can even, I mean, so another idea that Sonia, when I talked to her, gave me, is you can even tell them that, look, I'll do everything, I'll give them a cut for my commission, just to show you what we can do. And just build a rapport that way, and then hopefully the next listing is all the. But that, like, how, do people actually go for that, or
All the time. All the time.
the co-listing is common?
I co-listed with other agencies. And the most recent I did here in Redondo Beach was a single family home. There was kids and there was spouse and, you know, kids from a previous marriage. They wanted representation, my client wanted representation. So what I did is I charged them 6%, the buyer's agent got 2%. The listing agent, the co-listing agent got 2% and I got 2%. And worked it out, but then having full representation, it's like having your own attorney. But in that case, since they've done some of the work, just offer to co-list.
Yeah.
And tell them, look, why don't you let us do this together?
Yeah.
Just so you see, and then I'll help you, on the athletic, I hope you buy your next one. That would be one way, and that way you don't sound so greedy, you don't sound like you're trying to keep that person out of the,
Sure.
push him out of the way. So that would be much better. Okay. Now we're going into the pre-listing package. Can somebody tell me what a pre-listing package is? What's a pre-listing package? It's before the listing. It's a pre-listing package, yeah, it's before the listing. So I call you. You agree that you're going to have me over to see your home, and that you're considering listing with me, right? So next thing I do is I said, okay, I'm gonna send you some information on the property, comps, I'm gonna send you a report from my title company, and I'm also gonna send you my own report, and I'm gonna send you some of my marketing materials. Please review those, so when I get there, you're ready. Because the worst thing you can do is you go a file, you show up to your client, you put it in front of them, and now we're gonna do this in a week. Crazy. You know how much you cannot go to the RP out to the listing agreement, if you have to go piece by piece. Right? So what you're doing is, well, that's what I do. I ordered this from one of the title companies. And in here, I can get a copy of the grant deed. In this wonderful report that they can actually review for their record and they will keep it. They have a buyer and seller's guide, questions and answers in case, preparing them to ask me the right questions when I show up. Okay? And I give them information on the different laws, changes and things that I so I fill in with information. With this, I also put my CMA and I put my listing presentation. Okay, so by the time I get there, they know who I am, they know the team, they know Keller Williams, they know everything there is to know about my marketing strategy.
Give them this out for.
Drop it off, send it out. And then I tell them, by the way, you get to keep all this, and when we get escrow, here's where you can store all your paperwork. So when I show up, well, I better be prepared for one. Because now they have all the information.
It's great, because I remember when I bought my house, saw so much paperwork, that's just all of it.
Yeah, it helps you keep everything organized, so, and my, of course, the business card was right here. I'm ready to go. So, I even have the listing and everything already filled out. And I mean filled out. The only one I don't have filled out is that other form. And so it's depending if we already have that conversations. Remember I showed you that I think the listing are 1,050,000, but I actually have this one page that says that for marketing purposes, I'm gonna list the property at 90 days. Some of them have two versions, but two different prices, which is right. But I'm so convincing that I tell you what they're gonna do. I mean, actually, for it to work, this is what we're gonna do. Right? And I show them, because you're gonna see when this property closes on the 6th, market 998, 9 offers at 1,106. That's what you're gonna see when it closes. 0 concessions, meaning the seller did not have to spend 1 penny on repairs, on termite, on nothing. And once the buyer paying over the appraised value, $56,000 because we only appraised $1 million. And they tried to come back, even after they signed, saying that there was no repairs or nothing, they tried to come back with a almost $10,000 request for repairs. They tried to come back with an adjustment in the price. And I said, response on the bottom says, seller does not agree with any other requests. Then they came back. They're asking, oh, well, can we only do 30 days of lease back and she can pay for the second? Or can we get a 3-week extension of the escrow because of this and that? I said, seller does not agree with any request, and I served a notice to perform because that day it was the, you have to be confident, okay? Because that was the day with the conditions of removal was due, meaning that they needed to remove the investigations. So I sent them the response and I sent them today notice to perform, and I got on the phone with my backup office. And I was hoping they cancel because one of the backup officers for my clients, but they did. So, so to me, if they canceled, it was even better. But they actually responded back, removing the conditions. For they removed appraisal, and they removed investigation, meaning they were taking the property as it was, and they were agreeing to pay $56,000 over the appraisal. So
when did the escrow close?
it closes on the 6th. Right now, I'm just waiting for the loan contingency to be removed. And it's in its way to close. Same thing for another client in Silmar. They actually funded today, which means for Monday, which closes. Same thing. I took the leasing at condo 475, put it on the market at 448. It's in escrow 420. Okay, 2 months free rent. So it's like a routine that I've been doing, but I'm very precise. And you know, you learn with time. You learn negotiation and clarity, and the negotiation super important. And that one's close. And on the buyer side, also you have to be, you know, it's a skill. I mean, but that's you do it and you learn it after your transactions. Every transaction teaches you something. That property yesterday I was selling, my client says, Darren, a lot of pressure because we cannot afford to lose that property. We want. They were asking 1.5. We went in at 1.6. And he goes, I leave it in your discretion. But just so you know, you have an additional $200,000 to work with. And went back and forth, and I told the agent, I said, look, I cannot lose this property. I said, you met my clients. I said, they really like the property, they won. I said, I'm gonna make you a verbal offer. I said, while you're on the phone, I want you to call your client. If you're going to accept it, let me know and I write it up. But that means we're taking the property off the market. I had to go the whole 1.8. But my clients think I'm a hero right now, because they wanted the property so bad. And it's on top of the hill and like up in Palo Harbor Heights. Beautiful, incredible. You can see Catalina, you can see Palos Verdes from all the way over there. That's the highest. Beautiful home. And it was awesome yesterday when I went to give them the closing gift. They had a bigger gift for me. They had taken this briefcase that a friend had given, and it was like a whiskey bar. They had taken ice to make Manhattans, and they had taken some sushi. They had a whole spread for me. I was like, wow. And I told them, I said, my gift looks small now. But you know, they were so appreciative, and now they're excited that I'm gonna lease their property here. And I'm hoping to put it next week, but at the end, I'm running a little behind. So if not, then it's probably gonna be the first week of June. I didn't want to do it over Memorial Day, but who knows? And oh, by the way, the handyman might buy it if I'm getting them pre-approved. So it's really interesting. So you have to be with your conversations, with what you do, and how you prepare, you have to be, with purpose. You have to kind of like already see the end result. It is so important. Don't do anything, just practice. When you're practicing with someone else, when you're scripting, when you're doing scripts, or when you're doing role play, whatever you do, don't think of it as, see yourself as that person there as a client, and deliver it with the same passion. You know what I see? I'm not saying that's only my passion, but if I'm doing a $1 million presentation, the thing that motivates me is like, I see $25,000 over their head. And it doesn't sound bad, but no, but I do this because I make the money. Okay, it motivates me. It really does. So whatever your motivation is, or whatever that can get you, if that's your motivation, find it. And make that bring the fire out on you. So we went through what's in the listing packet. It's just that there's so much information to cover. Okay. Have you guys worked on the see this? So you deliver before, you get a confirmation for the appointment. Okay. Another thing, when you go to the appointment, if there's 2, 3 sellers in the title, make sure that they're all there. Because you're wasting your time if you go. Because there's no better way out than if you just meet with the husband, and when you ask him, are you ready to list with me? Well, I need to talk to my wife. What are you gonna do? The only way to fix it is make sure she's there, or if a kid is there, or whoever the owners are, they need to be present, because otherwise you are going to you're going for a pre-listing presentation. Because it's not a listing presentation, because they need to be able to sign. There's many times that either the wife or the husband are the full decision makers. Well, then what I do is I kind of know that they're not going to be there, so I put the contract in DocuSign, send it to them, show him how to sign in DocuSign. I said, when your wife comes, you show her how to sign. Doesn't work all the time, but you don't want to let it go too much. Because sometimes what they're doing is just creating reasons to say no. Okay, so and this is what I'm talking about. Please practice your listing presentation. There's all full scripts that you get. Bowl has a lot. Any of you guys doing Bowl? Okay, good. Bowl has a whole listing presentation, a whole buyer's presentation that you're gonna get. Make friends at Bowl. Find accountability partners. Find script partners, and stick to those schedules for a little while. And no matter how horrible it comes out in the beginning, please practice the presentation. Because if you don't practice it, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna go to a listing presentation, you're gonna practice it there. Right? And you're gonna mess it up. So mess it up before. You master it. That way, when you're there, you can deliver it like, no, you are, remember, how you say things, not what you say, it's how you say things, is what's gonna give you the confidence. Okay? Because you can tell them, I'm gonna get you the most money for this property. Or you can tell them, I always get my clients the most money from these properties. Every property I sell, I make more money for them. Okay? By the way, oh, do you know this back? You know, I can do my best to negotiate that for you not to have to pay. How do you like that? Very different. Okay? And you look at them in the eye. Not weird, but make sure that you have that eye contact so they believe you, so that they know they're capable and you know they're gonna get it. Okay? What does this mean? Arrive to the listing presentation in a professional manner. What do you guys understand by that?
Rent a Bentley.
Was that? No, I'm sorry.
Rent a Bentley, rent a.
Well, you know, okay, I saw a $5 million property in Newport Beach. And at that time, I was in transition of cars. And I was driving 3 Series BMW. Wasn't the latest model. When I show up, I'm listing. When I show up, the listing agent did show up, the buyers agent show up in the Bentley, the buyers show up in a Rolls Royce. And I waited for them to leave to get in my car. The other time I was driving a Nissan Sentra, because it was a rental, because my car was in the shop. And I literally parked it down the street. But because the people, the way they show up there, like it's actually not necessary. Again, what does that mean? Arrive to the listing presentation in a professional manner.
In time.
Okay, what else?
Definitely need to look decent, clean.
Your appearance.
Okay. What else?
Everything's ready.
So you're on time, you look good, what else?
All the paperwork is ready, like you mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm,
in multiple versions, multiple places.
okay. What else?
Have a nice listing presentation. Like the one you had there.
Okay. What else?
Be confident.
Okay. What else?
Be on time.
Got that? What else?
Bring your A game,
And what does that mean?
look professional, sound confident, be ready with all your paperwork, all of it.
Okay. Read, prepare, which involves all that. But when I say be prepared is, you know that it's not a lot of property, but it's the numbers that, all the information that you have. Be prepared to deliver it. Yes. You don't want to show up at the listing presentation because you're trying to make it on time and you're literally rushing, you're getting to the door. Good morning. You know, and sweaty and, I mean, no. You still made it on time and you still made a horrible impression. And it goes downhill from that. My suggestion is, if the GPS says you're gonna get there at 12, and your appointment is at 12, leave 10 minutes early. Sit in the car. It's not like you're going to 10 appointments that day, okay, that's at least in the beginning. Sit in the car, put the music that you like, get those juices flowing. Okay? If closing your eyes and meditating helps you. When I play golf, I always set up the same way. It's a routine to get ready for the shot. It's just a thing that I do. I grab the club, I put it over the back of my head, hit my back, bring it back forward, set up, make the adjustment necessary with my neck. All the time. What does that produce? Consistency. It produces consistency in my game, because I always do the same thing. So to me, if it's 5 minutes early, I go into doing some breathing. I love meditation, I've done many years. It's just how I center myself. And what does that do? You get in a state of mind, you get your energy in the right place. Whew, I can walk through that house, especially with a bunch of stairs, and I'm not out of breath, because I actually can take my time going up those stairs. If there's an elevator, take the elevator, because you always want to be, so you don't want to come like when you get to the door. And nothing wrong with knocking a few minutes, a couple minutes earlier. That's professionalism. Now, yes, you look good, right? You show up on time. I should pay for those. Make sure it's all organized, make sure the different things are separated, okay? Then, how you present the information you have. That's also professional. How professional are you at delivering or presenting your speech or presenting your presentation to the client? So that's what that means. And I gotta tell you, I often see people running and just like the last minute, putting everything together, rushing to the appointment. In the way there, something happens where like, it's me, I'm running behind, LA traffic. I hate when people do that, and the reason why, and I don't like using the word hate, but I love it less. The fact that we all know about LA traffic, who cares, right? We should always account for LA traffic. So it's not an excuse anymore, okay? It's me, especially in corporate, in banking. There was a time that I was opening 12 offices for Comerica Bank, and I was hiring a lot of people. So if people, so if people show up late to an interview, whenever a person shows up late, it doesn't matter if there was an accident, it doesn't matter if a dog crossed, it doesn't matter, you show up late. Right? It's just not a good first impression. So we need to make sure that our professionalism doesn't show just on the paperwork, but it also shows with our persona, it shows in our presentation, okay? So now the goal is get the client to sign the listing agreement. And I go through the listing agreement. Sometimes I actually send it ahead of time, blank, via email. So they can actually say, please go through the listing agreement, and that way if you have any specific questions, you can go ahead and ask. Because if not, okay, yes, if you go through each of these things, that person is gonna get so tired, and you might just at the end be like, oh, this is gonna be too long, this is gonna take too long, I'm not just want to sell the house. So you want to cover, and if you send it ahead of time, they have already read it. And then you start going through the highlights of the agreement, you don't have to go verbatim. Okay. You ask them if they read it, and then you start telling them, well, as we go through the pages, so we can keep everything in order, that's what I say. We're gonna be signing the different areas that I like highlighted. Okay, what am I doing? I'm closing, right? What I'm doing is, as we go through the agreement, we're gonna be signing the different areas that I highlighted. Yeah, times I'm gonna say, well, no, I wanna wait, let's go through it and then we can sign it. That's fine. But you know how often they're just like, okay, just make sure you have a pen. The last thing you wanna do is like, can I borrow a pen? Or being prepared, right? So I give them the pen. I give me a pen. Why? Because the way I do is, I go ahead and do the first signature, oh, this is my one to sign. There's yours. I show them that's easy to do it, I sign it. Okay, so it's just, one way, and do not be afraid to. If you don't have the agreement with you, which a lot of agents don't take the agreement on releasing presentations, I don't know how like they're gonna get a listing if they don't. But they don't. They think it's a second appointment for that. Let me tell you something, if you don't get a sign on the first appointment, you might not get a second chance. That's. Okay?
How many touches do you do before you go to the listing appointment? So for example, you've met them today and they're planning to sell in July, August. How many touches do you do? What do you do for that?
I will take the listing as soon as I can.
Oh, so you would sign it now, but then,
Yes, and then what I do is then I do the exclusion forms. To keep them off the MLS, for a certain number of days, there's a form for that. So, no, you want them to sign now, because what I tell them is, well, you need to put me to work now.
So the scenario I mentioned earlier, he actually asked me to come to their office to meet him and his dad, because his father's coming, and he's like, yeah, you can just sit down. So I mean, that's my opportunity. So I was planning on taking the listing there with me, but then if I'm gonna propose a dual, like co-listing, then the other agent needs to be there as well, or how does that work? Or do I just get it signed and then figure out how to?
Well, there's a form for when there's multiple brokerages,
Okay,
okay? So, you can add the agent after, and you can add the brokers after. Okay, but you need to have those forms with you,
sure.
so they know, okay? But yeah, you can do that, it's possible. Yep. Okay. So, at the time of me, signing that agreement, I go into the, what's next? I go into, by the way, so, okay, so we're gonna go, you know, this day we're gonna meet to declutter, this day we're gonna meet for, with the handyman to see what they're gonna do, if we're gonna do anything. This day, I build up a calendar according to, I want them to commit. Because I wanna be calling them, when are we gonna do this? When are we gonna do that? So I just go, this is a calendar. And then I go, and I'll follow up with an email showing you all the specific dates that we're gonna agree on. I already, by the time I take the agreement, I know when the picture is gonna be. Okay, and unless there's something crazy changes, I know where the property is gonna go on the market. So if you do that, you're setting the expectation, you're saying what's gonna be coming next. And then I go, by the way, we're only gonna show the property Saturday and Sunday during the open house, that way you don't have a bunch of people coming to your house or bothering you during the week or anything like that. And depending on the price point, I said, and I'm personally gonna be here doing this. And I tell them, we're gonna review it, we're gonna put a deadline for offers for Monday at 5 p.m. Depending on how many come in, we might review offers that evening, and we're gonna send counters on Tuesday. We're gonna give them a deadline of the next day at 4 p.m. So be ready to open escrow Thursday or Friday. Clear. Why? Because people need to understand the whole process and what's coming next to feel at ease. The unknown scares people.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm just freeing their minds out of any concern, because guess what? I know exactly the very step that we need to take. So what I'm showing them is, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. Does that feel confident? Does that give you credibility? If you know exactly what I'm gonna do from beginning to end, will you list your property with me? Right? And if I deliver it with the confidence that I know that schedule works for me all the time. And I tell them, by the way, if you stick to this case with me, the schedule is never coming. And especially if you listen to me about where we're gonna price the property, but that's key, even in this market. Okay, I was doing this even before this whole crazy market. I've always generated 9 to 12. I actually, except for this one, I didn't call it correctly. But for the most part, I told them, I said, you allow me to do that, and I can have 5 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 15 hours by the end of this. Always come. And this was a big sign that the market is changing. Okay? But the number of people that I got through Saturday and Sunday, because I didn't show any other day. I only showed Saturday and Sunday because I was there. And what was I doing there? I was talking to the agents, I was talking to their buyers and telling them, by the way, offers are due Monday. Before you submit your offers, please make sure you look at comps. So you can see the property's purpose listed this way. This is not what the property's gonna sell for. Because I don't need 20 offers at the asking price, right? I'm telling them already, if you come with this, you lost. So I get rid of a lot of the low dollars. I had 2 different people that want me to represent them on this. One was only willing to go up to $1,030,000. The other one stepped it up to 1.1. But these people had an escalating clause. And that's what put them on. But they accepted the free rent, they accepted the 2 months free rent, they accepted, I mean, everything, right? And then I hold them to it. So that's, and when you do that and you know you can do it, then you deliver it with confidence. So, but we just, yeah, I guess I'm ahead. We just went through all the details of the knowledgeable. By me giving them a tight calendar of when the next events are coming, this uncertainty is taken away. And they see that I got my A game and that I have that I know what I'm doing, and it's gonna be an easy thing. Even if you don't get the listing, please write in my thank you note. It was great to meet you. Thank you for the opportunity to come and interview for a job. I mean, just do it. Or give him a phone call. Do something. Yeah. Okay. The handwritten note is, of course, the most recommended one. Right? So now, make sure, because you can have a great presentation, you can look very confident, you can do everything. But when you get this agreement signed, please get a highlighter. Before you go, highlight the areas that need to be signed. But there's nothing going to discredit you that the next day you calling them back, oh, I missed the signature. There goes all your time. Right? Because you don't want to do that. So make sure, because if it's highlighted, you're going to see it. And please make sure you're not doing it in a rush when you highlight it. Because that's happens to me. And that's how I know. Okay? So it's important to make sure that you do this right from the very beginning. Okay. Anybody wants to share about your understanding of what you learned in reference to listings? And in the beginning, listings are scarier than buyers for some reason. But they're the easiest in executing. Not necessarily get it, but they're easier to do the paperwork and to go through research. Guess what you do? You just are like this. No, it's due. The contingencies are due. First call the day before. Hello, Mr. Agent. You are aware that the contingency is due tomorrow, right? When am I going to have it? proactive. Because if you wait till the day of, then, and they're running late, this is what the agent's gonna start doing, not picking up the call. And there's nothing more scary when an agent goes askew. So stay in communication, and that's super important. On Tuesday, I'm gonna be teaching the class about accepting and writing offers. Okay, and I go into more detail about communication. When does it start? When I accept an offer, I look at the agent. I look at their state license. I make sure that they don't have any complaints. I make sure that there's no disciplinary action. Why? I want to know what's going on. And I also know if that's their first transaction. I also know how many listings they've done, and I also know how many buyers they've done. Why? Because if you're working with a new person, you probably don't have someone else, right? So, in that helps in my evaluation. And by the way, I think people continue to communicate this all the time. It depends on how you present it. Here in Harbor City, at a condominium, just by the way he was talking, I told him, I said, just a question, is this your first transaction? He goes, yes. Okay, do you have a mentor? He goes, yes. Did you run this contract to your mentor before you sent it? Because he wasn't around. I said, well, you have 10 mistakes. I highlighted them and sent run to your mentor. Sends it back. I said, tell me a little bit about what your client thought of the property. Well, he hasn't seen it. Yeah. They haven't seen it yet. I took a video. That's not really, when I'm told the time, said more until the degree. Okay, now people can actually go see the property. And that's why it's really important. Okay, because remember, your responsibility is to protect yourself. How about if I go and accept that offer only because Luke, like, struggling tires? And then the people come and see the house and they're like, man, this picture, they made this house look a lot bigger, I don't like it. That's what you just did. You just delayed the process, you just screwed up your calendar, and you just speak a whole bunch of stuff that you were not expecting, right? And that gave us. And right there, the seller can lose confidence. So what I'm saying is, do your homework. When I'm working with a buyer and I'm gonna be working with a listing agent, okay? First of all, I check them out. Why? Because I want to know if I'm working with a veteran. But if I want to know if I'm working with a guy that's their second listing. Why? Because I know if I'm a better negotiator, if I'm gonna have a little bit more of a challenge. And that right there is a different level. Because now you're gonna be, if somebody's been selling real estate for 30 years, let me tell you, I don't care what they say, they do not respect. You bring one to do with that. You not kiss anything, you just have to give them the right respect. For their own career. You think that's gonna bring brownie points? Absolutely. So, I always tell people when I go to brokers open, I go, wow, congratulations again. You can kill it this year. It's true. You just have to be sincere about it. And that's the one way that also can offers to be accepted. When you go preview the property, please congratulate that person. Awesome listing, congratulations. make sure that when you call them back, to ask them, by the way, what does your seller have in mind for terms? I'm trying to avoid having to do multiple things with the counter. So I wanna make it as easy as possible. With 7 to 10 days in inspection begin, instead of 17 to 14 days, appraisal will be okay? Or do you want something else? And why am I telling them? Because I want you to work too hard when you do the counter offer to me. I already tell them what they want to do in a very nice way. By the way, I would really appreciate a counter offer, at least to get a chance. But you have to, do that extra effort. I see people that they go see a property, they come around and offer, they never call the agent and they just send that RP just the way it is. 21 days, 17 days, 17 days, and then the listing agent got 20 offers, now they have to type each counter offer, now they have to put, please reduce inspections to 7 days. Please reduce the appraisal to 14, please.
Would you say it's the same in the normal market when there are 20 offers on any given property?
It should be at any time. It's courtesy. It's getting a relation. It isn't, okay. Now, I'm not Christian all the time, but why do people do business with me? Two things. And if you don't remember anything else I said today, but you take these 2 things with you, you'll be successful in this business. What are the 2 things that I said? I think it came late probably. But what are the 2 things of why people do business with you?
They trust you.
What else?
They like you.
Yes. So, we're talking about buyers and sellers, right? Well, the buyers and sellers have a gatekeeper called an agent. So besides the people that you do business with need to like you and trust you, you need to maintain a relationship with those agents that you're going to be making an offer to, and make sure that they like you and that they actually trust you. Because they're going to tell you something. A lot of times, deals go wrong not because of the buyer or the seller, they go wrong because of the agent. Right. How the agent reacts to things has a lot to do with how the buyer and seller are going to react. Because some agents, they want sympathy. They go to the seller and said, can you believe what they're asking for? I mean, it's ridiculous. What did you just do to your seller? What, and how is he gonna react? The same way you just did. How about you go in and say, oh, by the way, we got the first request. They're trying to negotiate with us. Look at the things that they're asking for. You don't have to worry about that, we're gonna, this is how we're gonna respond. Okay, well, this is why I recommend that response to be. Or, you know what, we already cleared that up in the initial counter on the seller's counter. So, we can still we can still stick to that. And that's why on the last deal that I was saying, I just simply, seller does not agree. Seller does not agree. And then the agent called me and says, I think when I answered on the second one, I said, well, what do you think the answer is going to be? Nice, what do you think the answer is going to be? So it's going to be the same. So you guys already signed, you guys already, in your offer, you already said you're going to do these things. I said, we were actually honestly waiting for cancellation. And I personally was honest, I honestly was, because I wanted to put my own buyer and then go and the deal. But, they decided to just send us what we needed. Okay. So, are you guys doing any of this? Honestly? Never seen it? Okay, so when you're doing bold, or when you're doing Ignite, when you do bold, you actually do 20 conversations a day. Okay, so make sure you start stacking people up that you're gonna call. But when you're doing Ignite, You're supposed to have 10 conversations. And I don't mean dial 10 people. I mean, these are people that pick up and you tell them your name, you tell them you're in real estate, you tell them you actually talk a little bit about real estate, even if they tell you, go jump in the lake. But you actually told them, and that's a conversation. Okay, so you're supposed to have 10 of those. You're supposed to have 10 contacts to your database. 10 handwritten notes to the people that you talk to. Okay. You're supposed to, by the way, it doesn't matter what you put on social media. You know what's more effective? Go and actually engage, like something that they put, like, comment on their post, really kind of get their attention. I mean, social media is such a great way to spot people who you don't without them really knowing. And if you want to be purposeful, then you start commenting, or you start saying, or you start liking, you send them a friend request, or you whatever. Okay, but don't come. If you message them, I love those messages. When they say, even some realtors, they don't know why they don't realize I'm a realtor because they're all over the place. They're saying, would you consider selling your home with me? I said, sometimes depending on the mood. Sometimes I'm nicer than other times. But sometimes I tell them, I said, only if you list yours with me. But it's, you when you do those things, you also have to be tactful, right? Because that person totally looks like they're not paying attention. Or they just do like a whole mass email. So anyway, so these are definitely some of the activities that you should be doing. Okay. We're not gonna do the role playing. I'm gonna cut it at 12:30 just because the other meeting is going to start. Do you guys have any questions in regards to today? Or in regards to any other topic that you guys have already covered before?
Or like an app where you build your listing presentation?
Command.
You build yours in Command?
No, I actually have to pay a firm. But they need a lot of other things, business card design, logo design, the presentation, the story behind. So it's a little more expensive. But Command has a basic listing presentation under designs. If you go to designs, where all the posters are and all the postcards are, there is a listing presentation. And on that one, what you have to, and to get started, that's what you need. Quite honest. It's when the ego gets in the way and then you start paying for stuff. It's not- just use that one.
So they give you like a template,
And you can upload your information, you can upload your picture, and it does it for you. And you can also ask for help with Holland on the front, to help you with that. And there's companies that, I can't remember. I can't remember, there was a company when I first got here. 2014, I paid a company that was associated with Keller Williams. I think it was $500. They built my website, they built everything. Didn't Leroy something?
Scott Legal.
Yeah, don't they do that?
I think they do.
I think if you provide the information, they can do it, and
Yeah.
it's really inexpensive. Because this right here is a little different, that's more
More of a private.
design. So, yeah, no, just use that for right now.
I was gonna do that next, do the Scott Leroy marketing
Okay.
website.
Yeah, very inexpensive. Do you have business cards already?
I do, I have business cards, I have a website, I just need to put a packet together for listing presentations.
Okay. Yeah, I could probably see, who's your mentor?
I don't have one.
Okay. When you get one, they could probably show you, or ask Ed, he's the productivity coach right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, they can show you on Command where to go.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I, like I told you, I always just, either my admin or somebody has done some stuff for me. I do know how to use command, I do, but you know, the contacts and stuff like that.
Yeah, you do
But-
on that.
When it has to do with the whole marketing suites and all that stuff, I just like. Not capable of. And I focus on what I'm good at. And whatever I'm not good at, is what I was saying about leverage. Okay, leverage is using other people's skills to your benefit. And if you have to pay for it, then they deserve to get that. But that's the way to do it. Alright, anything else? How long have you been licensed?
Since the beginning of, end of 2019,
Oh, okay, wow, right before COVID.
right during COVID, yeah.
Okay. How long have you been with that roots?
Just joined recently a month ago.
Oh, okay, so you haven't used your license, before?
I have used my license, yes, I closed 5 transactions.
How many?
5.
Congratulations, that's awesome, during COVID too.
Yeah,
Where at?
I used to live in Orange County, I door knocked a lot.
Okay,
And I just, my sphere.
alright, well, have you identified a farm here, because if you're good at, I love door knocking, I just, lately I just don't have time to be door knocking. But door knocking is awesome,
I agree.
I like it. Open houses are my favorite. I build a business, 90% of my business was at open houses, so listings and buyers. And it's all about connecting, it's all about relationships,
Right,
it's about people liking you first. And about being likable. It has nothing to do with who you are, how you look, it has to do with how you show up.
right,
Okay, so being likable and being trusted is what gets you that.
right.
I always tell the story because I have had clients that I meet at an open house and a week later, I have their property in the market and I have an extra on a different property. And one story right here in Hollywood Riviera. I had an open house in North Redondo, their 2-year-old baby, they walking down the stairs. The 2-year-old baby that's on the top and she just runs. You know, hugs me, like right here, it's like it hugs me. And the family goes, oh, I guess she picked up the, our agent.
If the kids like you, then
Uh-huh.
the parents.
So, they were looking at a townhome, and I told them, I said, look, I just saw a property come on the market, like, this morning. I go, there's no open house, but if you guys are gonna be in the area, around 4:30, why don't I just meet you at the property? Put an offer that evening, took the listing for their property that they needed to sell before closing on the property that evening. And this is crazy. And the same thing happens when people open their door and you just have to smile and you can just present yourself and be like it. And that's why it's important sometimes to just, read stuff on body language. Read stuff on, there's a really good book out there called Cues. CUES, Cues. And it talks about all that. How you gestures, your hands, like, when you talk to people, and they don't know you and you have your hands in your pocket. Do you know that that's just a way of people not trusting you? Or if you have your hands in your back?
They can't touch.
The moment people see your hands, the moment you show your hands in front of you, it's an automatic trust factor. They know your intentions. Because imagine, you think a police officer not trust me if I get out of the car and go like this?
No way.
No, they shouldn't. So, they must do that. But, so you experience, you're going to be a mentor, because, you need to close, 3 transactions. That's awesome. What else, were there mostly listings?
No, we have buyers and then one listing.
Alright. Well, actually, how does the price point?
800 to 1.3.
Alright. That's good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, it was great.
Yeah. So what happened? You just moved out here and,
Just moved out here and, I like this area.
well, yeah. Sounds like door knocking is your calling. How much did you do to get that result?
how many doors,
Well, how often,
I try to do it 3-4 times a week, about 3 hours on average.
that's not that pay. Because if you did 5 at that price point,
I did about 1,500 doors.
it's not bad at all.
I have some other connections that I, like, contacts that I've built through door knocking.
Okay.
Just because they're not ready to sell tomorrow.
And that's the thing, door knocking or farming is a longer term. And that's why, when you go to talk to people, you don't go and knock on the door like, oh, I am your local expert. Are you thinking you'll sell your ass? If they don't know you, they're gonna say, no. But if you go there, you just like, well, they're in the garden and you like, tell them how amazing job they're doing. But if you just becoming like, just talking about how you're just meeting the neighbors, you're just getting familiarized with the neighborhood. You don't even have to tell them, realtor.
Yeah.
Because the moment you do that, they shut up.
You're just kind of introduce yourself.
So you just, like I said, you want them to like you before you tell them you're a realtor. Because you tell them you're a realtor before they like you, guess what? They know another 3 realtors. So that's good. I'm so happy to hear that, because I keep telling people, door knocking is awesome. But it's harder.
I was kind of nervous to start door knocking because I don't want to seem threatening. You know how a lot of people are wary of strangers coming up to their door, and I just didn't want to seem like. So how do you have to dress nice, right?
Well, you have to dress comfortably but nice.
Yeah.
You always have to make sure that you're not wearing a straight coat or like, just, make sure your hands are always visible, with the materials that you have are visible.
Yeah.
Don't try to force the door to, like the screen open to knock on the real door, figure out a way, to knock on the side or something, step back. When you're not. If you like right at the door when they open, and then, they open the door, and you're like right here. Of course, automatically like, oh.
Yeah.
Right, so it's just be proper and polite. I always tell people, 7:30 in the morning, perfect time to door knock. Why? They don't even have to open the door, you can catch them, like getting out of their car or getting into their car with the kids, going to school. And then you just be like, oh, by the way, next time I come by, here's some information. I'm Aaron, good to meet you, don't know you about it. But if they see you doing that all the time, guess what? Oh, there you are again.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just some basic interactions. And like I said, if the moment you get in a relationship with people and conversation with people, then they're gonna start opening up.
Trust me more.
Yeah. All right, well, if you guys have any questions, my office is always in that corner. And feel free to let me know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I grabbed some of my cards.
Oh.
A bunch if you want one or.
Yeah, so- Cool, all right, thank you. Thank you, Aaron, that was good. You're welcome, senor.
Biggest impression you made was me. Is if you send them those.
So you're not gonna get a report?
I don't know, I kind of know what to do, I just need to do it. And in terms of how everyone's in this office is very helpful and you just need to sit down and read the contracts. And I mean, going to the listing appointment, that's what I'm not comfortable with. And I can just get someone to go with me. Just, share personal planners with them.
Yeah. You mean like the appointments, the
Initial to get the listing.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you want to start?
I started about the same time as you. I signed on early last month,
Okay,
first week of April, so,
and then you're just starting out?
yeah, I got my license like late February.
Nice.
What's your name?
Shanna,
Jenna? Tyler.
Tyler, nice to meet you. Cool. Yeah, I'm really liking this office. You got really lucky.
What office did you work for before?
Well, it was also an amazing office, first team real estate down in Orange County. So it was
First team, okay.
That's in Irvine. And they were pretty good, but they weren't as, like here, everyone is willing to share and teach.
Yeah.
But there, it was more of like a cutthroat situation,
Yeah, more
Yeah.
more competitive.
a lot more competitive, yeah, but it was good. So this is the best situation, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm signing on with her actually. Just in the meantime. Thank you.
How you doing?
Good.
What's new in your world?
Nothing much, just working. Just working, staying busy. Oh, I was gonna take yours.
You don't want mine. Trust me.
I feel like I'm getting something.
I've been having that feeling like 24/7 for the past month.
I have 6 escorts going on, and normally I never have that many, so it's like,
Wow, seriously, right now?
yeah.
Dude, Aaron, right on, man. That's awesome.
Aaron,
Good for you.
how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. This guy's got 6 extra open right now.
Awesome.
Oh, no, it went down to 5, I posted one yesterday.
Hey, all right, see.
No, that's supposed to happen.